9 programmers exposed in front of the CEO, the heartwarming transformation of a delivery girl. Eliza pedaled through the streets of Chicago, each push of the pedals fueling her relentless spirit. The sun dipped low, casting a golden hue on the busy sidewalks. Today felt special. Perhaps it was the hum of possibility in the air, or the way the city's rhythm synced with her racing heart. As she zoomed past a tech startup, a wave of nervous energy washed over her. Inside, 9 programmers fidgeted, their eyes flitting over monitors filled with algorithms and graphs. They were about to showcase their big idea to a CEO known for his razor-sharp critiques. Days bled into weeks, and Eliza was the glue holding her family together. Since her father passed away, she had traded a carefree youth for bills and responsibilities. Her younger brother, Leo, looked up to her with wide, trusting eyes. Every smile she managed to coax from him felt like a triumph against the tide of despair that threatened to drown them. Yet, there lay a void in her heart as she dreamed of something more, something beyond deliveries and nightly shifts. In a blink, her delivery style had become a part of the neighborhood's fabric. But there was always an itch in the back of her mind, those programmers, immersed in innovation while she felt the weight of outdated struggles. Today, the atmosphere crackled with urgency. Eliza leaned against a brick wall for a moment's reprieve when she overheard snippets of their anxious conversation. A critical flaw, someone whispered, panic shoving down their voices. She leaned in closer, heart pounding. This was the moment. Everything they had worked for could slip through their fingers. Before she could second-guess herself, Eliza spoke up. "What if have you considered a more user-friendly interface?" The room fell silent. 9 pairs of eyes stared back, surprised. No one expected the delivery girl to have a voice in their tech world. Yet her hands, busy delivering pizzas all day, grasped the very user experience they overlooked. "Yeah, we hadn't thought of that," one programmer responded, gratitude evident in his eyes. Eliza felt an unexpected surge of confidence. They were getting somewhere. But just as hope began to flutter in her chest, the CEO strode in a thundercloud clad in a sharp suit. His presence washed over the room, snuffing out the light they'd just kindled. "Let's see what you've got," he snarled, and the energy of the room morphed into heavy dread. When the presentation began, disappointment dripped from the CEO's face. "This isn't what I expected." "Back to the drawing board," he snapped. Eliza's heart sank. She had seen the passion behind those lines of code and late-night brainstorming sessions. They weren't just tech geeks, they were people, dedicated and desperate for validation. Gathering every ounce of courage, she stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Excuse me, sir," she began, surprising even herself. "I know I'm just a delivery girl, but what you see in this app is a reflection of real people's needs. Don't overlook the value in that." She poured her heart into her plea, recounting her family's struggles and the hope she found in innovation that served everyday Americans. As she spoke, the room buzzed with attention that felt electric. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Silence enveloped them all as Eliza's words sank in. Would the CEO redefine his standards? Would he grasp the humanity that pulsed beneath the data? Heart racing, Eliza stood at the crossroads of her own dreams, eyes locked on the ceiling. In hope. Could her simple truth alter the course of their fates? Maybe, just maybe, the spark of possibility could ignite within her as well. Eliza caught her breath as the tension hung thick in the air. For a moment, every face in the room seemed frozen, the buzz of code and ambition eclipsed by the gravity of her words. The CEO's expression, once shrouded in disdain, flickered briefly. A hint of confusion clouded his sharp, calculating gaze. Eliza felt time stretch, each heartbeat vibrating through her chest like the thrum of her bike as she navigated the streets. "Why should we listen to you?" he finally snapped, his tone cutting. "You're here to deliver pizzas, not design apps." The room collectively gasped. Eliza's heart dropped again. She felt the anger and indignation surfacing, but she fought to keep her composure. "Because I understand," she replied firmly, emboldened by the sincerity of her conviction. "I witness daily life. I meet people who need solutions, human solutions. This app looks great on paper, but how many users will actually connect with it?" The 9 programmers exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from embarrassment to encouragement. They were inspired by her courage. One programmer, the quietest of the group, with messy hair and a hoodie, spoke up. "She's right. We built this with our codes and theories, but we forgot the real-life application. What if we did connect with people like Eliza? What if we listened?" The words hung in the air, and for the first time, hope flickered back into the room. The CEO's face hardened again, but he seemed momentarily taken aback. Hidden beneath his impatience was a glimmer of curiosity. "Let's say I entertain this idea. What do you propose, Eliza?" She took a deep breath. This was her chance. "User feedback sessions," she suggested, her voice steadying. "Invite people from the community. Walk them through the app. People who use it daily can tell you what works and what doesn't. Let their experiences shape your project." The heaviness in the room gradually transformed. The atmosphere shifted from skepticism to intrigue. The programmers began to nod, murmuring to one another. Eliza glanced at them, and in their eyes, she saw resilience and fight people who wanted to make a difference. The CEO looked thoughtful. "And how do you fit into this feedback?" he asked, still scrutinizing. "I want to be part of it," Eliza answered earnestly. "I can connect with users. I can bring their real stories to you. I know what they struggle with because I live it daily." In that moment, everything clicked. She was no longer just a delivery girl, she was a bridge. She was crossing the divide between technology and the people it aimed to serve. The room started humming with ideas, enthusiasm sparking like electricity. The CEO's expression changed, softening just a fraction, almost imperceptibly, a tiny crack in his armor. "Fine," he relented at last, a hint of grudging respect coloring his words. "Let's see if you can prove your worth. Meet me on Thursday, and we'll discuss how this will work." Eliza couldn't believe it. This was the opportunity she had longed for. As she left the room, her spirit soared. Maybe she could change their world. Maybe they could create something beautiful together. Outside the building, Eliza took a deep breath, basking in the golden light of the setting sun. The street hummed with the country's familiar pulse, voices, laughter, the distant sound of cars honking. She thought of Leo, of their family, and of the dreams blooming within her heart. But as joy surged within her, a nagging worry lingered. Would they truly listen? Would change come through, or would this just be another fleeting moment of inspiration? With her mind racing and her emotions swirling, Eliza rolled her shoulders back, determined to find out. She wasn't just a delivery girl anymore. What lay ahead could be a journey of transformation, not just for her, but for everyone involved. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a text from Leo. "Can I have pizza for dinner?" Eliza smiled. "Always," she typed back. But just as she hit send, a thought struck her. What if this newfound connection could be the beginning of something more for her family, her community, and beyond? Would she have the strength to navigate this uncharted territory ahead? With questions lingering like shadows, she mounted her bike again, pedaling into the evening glow, ready for whatever came next. Eliza's heart thudded with excitement as she rode through the city streets. The sunset cast a warm light, golden rays reflecting off shop windows and the pavement. She barely noticed the worn path of the usual delivery route, her mind spinning with thoughts of the meeting yet to come. What did it mean to be part of that world now? How would she fit into the fast-paced life of programmers and CEOs? It felt surreal, like hopping onto a speeding train without a ticket. With every turn of the pedals, she felt the thrill of possibility surge. Maybe she could bridge the gap for people who'd never been heard. Pulling up to Leo's school, she parked her bike and rushed inside, excitement bubbling. She scanned the crowded hallways and finally spotted Leo at a table with his friends. The moment he saw her, his face lit up. Eliza's worry about how to approach the future melted away for that brief second. "Pizza lady," Leo called out with a grin, waving his arms. "Eliza, the app designer," she responded playfully, puffing out her chest as though claiming a grand title. Her brother laughed, and the sound was music to her ears. They shared the little details of their days over slices of pepperoni. Leo told her about the latest school drama, and she shared snippets from her meeting. She noticed how intently he listened, his eyes wide with admiration. "You're gonna be famous," he declared, enthusiasm spilling from him. She couldn't help but smile at his unwavering belief in her, but deep down, a sliver of doubt crept back in. What if it all fell through? What if the programmers decided they couldn't change? Eliza shook off the thoughts. She realized that it wasn't just about her. Leo and everyone in their community had a stake in it too. She owed them a chance at change. Later that night, as they cuddled on the couch to watch TV, Leo leaned his head against her shoulder. It was comforting to feel his warmth beside her, a reminder that family was where strength began. "Do you think they'll actually listen to you?" he asked, a hint of concern creeping into his voice. Eliza took a moment. She wanted to reassure him, wanted to say everything would be fine. "I have to believe they will," she replied softly, tucking a strand of hair behind his ear. "If I don't, who will?" The moment felt heavy. Their mom would be home soon, and they would have to put on brave faces after a long day, all wishing for things to finally get better. Would the right tools and perspective shift this unyielding cycle of working hard but never getting ahead? It was a question Eliza felt in her bones. They deserved that chance. As the credits rolled on the screen, Eliza's phone buzzed again. A reminder about Thursday's meeting. Her stomach fluttered. This was it. The moment of truth was looming, and with it, a wave of fear washed over her. She pushed it down, replacing it with determination. "Are you ready for tomorrow, Leo?" she asked, trying to lighten the mood. "Ready for pizzas and success." He grinned, she chuckled, feeling the warmth of their bond wrap around her. Understanding began to bloom that whatever happened in that boardroom, change wasn't just about her or the app, it was about the heart driving it, her family, her community, and every small story they held within them. As they settled into bed, she whispered a soft promise to herself. No matter the outcome, her voice would be heard. The next day, she'd gather her courage, meet the programmers, and transform words into action. But the uncertainty gnawed at her. Would she be able to break down their barriers? Would her voice be a catalyst for the change she yearned to see? Eliza closed her eyes, feeling the weight of hope and doubt battle within her. The journey was just beginning, and the future dangled before her like a ripe fruit waiting, just out of reach. Morning light spilled through the window, filling Eliza's room with a soft glow. The world outside was waking up, but she lay there, her heart racing as the reality of the day before her sank in. Today was the day. It felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, peering into unknown waters, wondering if she would sink or swim. After tossing and turning, she finally rolled out of bed. Thoughts of Leo sprawled on the couch last night, and his wide-eyed admiration gave her the courage she needed. She took a long shower, letting the warm water wash over her, imagining her fears evaporating with the steam. "Just be yourself," she whispered to her reflection in the mirror, practicing a smile. It felt strange, like talking to a stranger. But that stranger was determined. By the time she grabbed her bike and pedaled towards the meeting, her nerves bubbled up again. She replayed the agenda in her mind. At least she had done her homework. She was ready to share her vision for the app, which was supposed to aid those without a voice in a rapidly advancing digital era. But what if they laughed? What if they wrote her off before she even spoke? Pulling up outside the sleek office building, Eliza took a deep breath. The polished glass windows reflected her anxious face back at her, and for a moment, she hesitated. What if she was walking into a lion's den? But then she thought of Leo, and the stories she wanted to tell for him and so many others who felt unheard. As she stepped inside, an unexpected warmth washed over her. The atmosphere was buzzing, people in sharp suits, laptops open, and intense discussions swirling about. She tightened her grip on the folder holding her notes, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. With focused steps, she navigated through the crowd, searching for the meeting room. The door opened with a soft click, and she was met with 9 pairs of eyes, programmers, each extraordinary in their craft, ready to listen or perhaps dismiss her. At the end of the long conference table, staring intently, sat the CEO. She swallowed hard. "Good morning," she began, her voice steadying with practiced certainty. "I'm Eliza, and I'm here to talk about bridging the gap for voices that often go unheard." As she spoke, she found her rhythm. The words flowed as she shared about communities, the challenges they faced, and how her app could be a beacon of hope. She focused on real stories of people like Leo who inspired her fight for change. Every detail painted pictures of what a little help could bring. She noticed the programmers exchanging glances, their brows furrowing in thought. When she wrapped up, silence filled the room. Then came the questions. They were sharp, probing, but insightful. Each response she provided felt like a small victory, a step toward opening minds and possibilities. But just as she thought she was winning them over, one programmer stood up, arms crossed, skepticism etched on his face. "That's great and all, but how do you make sure this app actually works? It's not just about ideals, it has to be practical." That question hung heavy. Her heart sank, and for a split second, all the confidence she had built felt fragile. By grounding it in real feedback, she answered, regaining her footing. "We'll start small, pilot within our community, adapt and only then scale. This is their app as much as it is ours." She felt a shift. The air crackled with curiosity as other programmers leaned forward, scribbling notes. The dismissal in the room was slowly morphing into engagement. As the meeting wrapped up, her sleeves rolled up and everyone more open, a faint spark of hope flickered inside her, but doubt also lingered. Had she really made a difference? Would the momentum continue, or would it fizzle out? As she stepped back outside, the adrenaline rushed through her veins. The future felt uncertain still, but the first step had been taken. She had been heard. The real question gnawed at her: was this just the beginning? Would she brave the next steps, armed with determination and a newfound voice, or would obstacles re-enter? The fray, threatening to silence her, Eliza took a deep breath, looking up at the vast sky. It was time to find out. Eliza walked out of the meeting, the warmth of the sun greeting her like an old friend. The doubt that clouded her mind dissipated like morning fog, replaced by a hopeful buzz that she could hardly contain. She mounted her bike, eager to ride, to be free, to process everything. As she pedaled, she thought about the programmers' reactions. They had questioned her, yes, but they had also leaned in, their interest piqued. It felt good to be at the center of attention for something meaningful instead of just another day of deliveries. She smiled, the wind rushing through her hair. On her way home, she took a slight detour, passing a small park where kids played and laughter rang out. It reminded her of Leo's smile, the kind she'd do anything to see more often. She parked her bike near a bench and pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages, biting her lip in anticipation. She wanted to share her news with him, but the words felt too big, too important to text. Then the phone buzzed. It was Leo. "How did it go?" he asked, his excitement palpable even through the screen. She paused, fingers hovering over the keyboard. What if it went poorly? What if all this was just a fleeting moment? Eliza shook her head, tossing the fears aside, and typed back a simple, bold, "I think I did it. I think they actually listened." Seconds later, Leo replied with a flurry of emojis and a text that sent warmth flooding through her chest. I knew you would. You're unstoppable. She laughed, the sound echoing in the empty park. Suddenly, a little girl approached, her chipper smile illuminating the area. Are you a superhero? She asked, pointing to Eliza's bike covered in stickers. No, just a girl trying to do something good, Eliza replied with a grin. What about you? I'm going to be a cat when I grow up. The girl beamed, her imaginative spirit infectious. The encounter reminded Eliza of what she was fighting for, those who felt unheard, those who dreamt of being seen. She waved goodbye to the little girl and rode back home, the gears in her mind clicking. She needed to do more than share her idea, she had to collect more stories, more voices to amplify. As she reached her apartment, determined to lay the groundwork for her next move, her phone rang. It was one of the programmers from the meeting. Hey, Eliza, it's Jake. I've been thinking about your presentation. Her heart raced. This was unexpected. Yes? I think we're on to something here. Can we set up a follow-up? I want to bring some teammates on board, he said, excitement bubbling in his voice. Eliza couldn't believe it. Absolutely. I'd love that. After hanging up, she felt a wave of exhilaration wash over her. They wanted to collaborate, they wanted her ideas. This wasn't just about the app anymore. It was about change. But as her joy settled, a shadow crept back in. What if their enthusiasm dwindled? What if the realities of deadlines and technical hurdles closed the door on her project? Eliza squeezed her eyes shut, pushing the thoughts away. She had to focus on the now, on what was right in front of her, the chance to build a bridge from silence to voice. As she opened her laptop, her fingers poised to start outlining the next steps, determination surged through her. She had to reach out to more communities, gather more stories, voices that needed to be part of this journey. Eliza took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the world lift. Yes, it was time to prepare for not just herself but for everyone she'd aimed to help. But what she didn't expect was the email that would arrive by sunset, throwing her plans into a whirlwind she wasn't ready for. Eliza sat in her small living room, the fragrance of takeout lingering in the air. She double-checked her inbox, her heart thumping with both anticipation and dread. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving her apartment illuminated by the soft glow of her laptop screen. She felt like a performer waiting backstage, ready to step into the spotlight. As the clock ticked on, she drummed her fingers against the table, trying to shake off the cold anxiety creeping in. Finally, the notification popped up, a new email from Jake. She practically dove for the mouse, clicking it open as she held her breath. Subject: follow-up meeting, exciting ideas inside. Her stomach flipped as she read through the lines. Jake had outlined their conversation and suggested a formal presentation next week, complete with a list of other teammates who were just as enthused as he was. They'd been in touch with several communities, gathering feedback to incorporate into her project. The excitement in his words was contagious, but buried in the email was a line that snared her attention: they want to showcase your idea to the CEO. Eliza's heart raced. The CEO? The term echoed in her mind, bringing both exhilaration and fear. She was on the verge of something enormous, and yet, the thought of standing in front of someone with that much authority sent a wave of doubt crashing over her. She pictured the room, all those faces watching her, judging, waiting for her to falter, but before the pang of fear could settle in, she remembered the little girl's smile, the way Leo had supported her, the hope thrumming through her veins. She shook her head, resolute. If they believed in her, maybe she finally could believe in herself, too. With new purpose, she grabbed a notepad, jotting down a rough outline for her presentation. Ideas flowed like water: stories to tell, voices to amplify, dreams to chase. She envisioned herself speaking passionately, fueled by the lives she wanted to impact. Hours passed, and as the night wore on, Eliza felt the spark of inspiration ignite. She had time to prepare, time to collaborate with Jake and the team. She could reach out to individuals in her community, ask them for their stories, relay her vision. She envisioned a tapestry of experiences woven together, each thread representing someone who yearned to be heard. Feeling the urge to connect, she sent a quick text to Leo. "Guess what? I'm presenting to the CEO next week. Can you believe it?" The response was instant. "That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I knew it would happen. You've got this, Eliza." She smiled, a warmth pooling in her chest that felt like home. After a few exchanges filled with encouragement, she felt braver, steadier. Eliza switched off her laptop and stretched, glancing out the window at the stars blinking back at her. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This was not just her journey anymore, it was about everyone who believed in her. It was about those kids in the park, the community's yearning for their stories to be seen. Just as she finished reflecting, her phone chimed with a new notification. A text from Jake lit up her screen. "Also, would you be open to a team interview video? We can help present your vision." Eliza's breath caught. The moment was surreal, the path she imagined was slowly unfolding right before her. But there was a catch. Could she reveal her vulnerability and let others see just how much she cared? As she considered this, a knock on her door startled her. Heart racing, she stood up. Who could it be at this hour? With a mix of curiosity and nerves, she approached the door to find out. Eliza hesitated for a moment, her hand hovering over the doorknob. The uncertainty wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. She took a deep breath, steadied herself, and opened the door. Standing there was a stranger, a woman in her 30s with a bright smile and an armful of posters. The light from the hallway spilled into the apartment, illuminating her soft features. "Hi. Sorry to bother you late, but I'm organizing a local art event and could really use your help." Eliza blinked in surprise, her heart still racing from the earlier thrill and the unexpected interruption. Sure. What kind of help do you need?" The woman, noticing Eliza's intrigue, stepped into the apartment, seeming to fill the space with her energy. "I'm Mia, by the way. We're aiming to showcase the work of underrepresented artists in the neighborhood, and it's all community-driven. I've heard about your project, and I think collaborating would be incredible." Eliza raised an eyebrow, her mind racing. Just as she was getting ready to step into the spotlight at her meeting, here was a new opportunity that felt just as significant. Wow, that sounds amazing. But I'm not sure how I could help." Mia grinned, her enthusiasm infectious. "You're already involved in your community through your project. Telling stories, connecting people, that's what it's all about. We need someone like you to amplify the voices here, to really pull everything together. Imagine the impact we could make." As Mia spoke, Eliza felt her heart swell. She thought of Leo, of the children whose lives she wanted to touch. There was a fire ignited within her to create not only a presentation for the CEO but to also elevate her entire community. "Okay, I'm in. What can we do together?" Mia's eyes brightened. "I'm so glad to hear that. We can start by gathering stories. Art speaks volumes, but the stories behind the art are what make it resonate. We need a space that brings people together, a night to celebrate creativity." Excitement bubbled within Eliza again, the doubts that had clouded her earlier drifting away like fog. They began brainstorming ideas, creating an outline for the event. Eliza jotted down names, stories, concepts that popped into her head. As they worked, each idea seemed to foster another, transforming the room into a vibrant hub of inspiration. They threw smaller gatherings into the mix, offering a way to build anticipation. Eliza realized that showcasing her project could play a significant part in elevating the event. Her work didn't exist in isolation, it flourished within the community. After a couple of hours, the deep sense of connection filled the air. Eliza stood up, feeling a surge of gratitude. "Mia, this is incredible. I didn't realize I needed this collaboration as much as I did." Mia smiled warmly, brushing back a loose strand of hair. "That's what it's all about, right? We support each other and grow together. Overwhelmed by emotion, Eliza grabbed her phone and sent Leo a quick text update about the collaboration. But just before she hit send, she hesitated, glancing at Mia. Would this affect her upcoming presentation? Would it dilute her vision, or enrich it? The question lingered, uncertainty creeping back in as she pondered how to balance her ambitions. Hey, Mia said, sensing her hesitation. It's okay to feel a little torn. But remember, the most meaningful projects are the ones connected deeply to our communities and loved ones. You're not alone in this. Eliza nodded, feeling a wave of reassurance wash over her. What if teaming up with Mia led to something extraordinary? And just as the weight of that thought settled, another knock came, this time, louder. Eliza's pulse quickened again. Who else was at her door now? With a mix of curiosity and apprehension, she turned back toward the door, ready to find out what awaited her next. Eliza opened the door slowly, half expecting another surprise. The figure on the other side was a young man, probably in his early 20s. He wore a hoodie that looked like it had seen better days, and he held a tattered notebook clutched to his chest. His eyes darted from Eliza to Mia and back again, a mixture of interest and hesitation etched across his face. Hi. Is this where the art meeting is? He asked, his voice wavering slightly. Mia stepped forward, beaming. Yes. You're just in time. I'm Mia, and this is Eliza. We're brainstorming for a local art event. Want to join us? The young man hesitated, his gaze flickering between Mia's encouraging smile and Eliza's more cautious expression. I've got some drawings I wanted to share, but I'm not sure if they're good enough. Eliza and I were just talking about the importance of stories behind the art, Mia encouraged, her voice full of warmth. Everyone's voice matters here. What's your name? Sam, he mumbled, shifting from one foot to the other. I just moved here and well, I thought this could be a good way to meet people. Eliza felt her heart deepen with empathy. She remembered her own journey of stepping into unfamiliar territory, of seeking connection. Come in, Sam. We'd love to hear your story. As Sam crossed the threshold, his posture relaxed a bit. He took a seat at the small table, placing the notebook in front of him like it was both a treasure and a burden. Mia and Eliza exchanged encouraging glances. There was something magical about the way their small circle began to form. What's great about this event, Eliza began, her voice steadying with newfound confidence, is that it's not just about the art itself, but about the artists behind it. Why don't you tell us about your work? A flash of apprehension crossed Sam's face again, but he squared his shoulders and opened the notebook. The pages were filled with sketches, vibrant and alive. Each one gave a glimpse into moments that seemed raw and unfiltered. They were portraits of people in the neighborhood, their expressions caught in a way that made Eliza's heart ache. I've been drawing people I see every day, Sam explained, pointing at a sketch of an elderly man sitting on a park bench, lost in thought. Just trying to capture little snippets of their lives. Eliza felt her breath catch in her throat. This was the kind of raw storytelling that resonated with her own mission. These are beautiful, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Imagine how powerful they would be when shared with the community. You've captured their essence. Sam's cheeks flushed at the compliment, a smile breaking through his initial shyness. Mia leaned forward, eyes sparkling. What if we included a segment in the event specifically for portraits? Each artist telling the story behind their work, just like you're doing now. The room buzzed with excitement and possibilities. Eliza felt a wave of hope reignite within her. Idea after idea coursed through the air as they collaborated how to frame each story, how to create a space that felt welcoming and inclusive. Just then, Eliza's phone buzzed, pulling her momentarily from the creative whirlwind. It was a text from Leo, asking if they could meet the next day to finalize details for her presentation. Her heart sank. This was the moment she had been waiting for, but she felt a tug of loyalty to this new project, to these newfound connections rising like a phoenix from the ashes. She glanced at Mia and Sam, their faces illuminated by the glow of shared dreams. The warmth in her chest reminded her of where she was needed most. "Guys, I have to figure out something," Eliza finally said, trying to shake off her worry. "But we're going to make this work. We have to." As they continued discussing and laughing, a doorbell chimed through the apartment, echoing in the now warm, vibrant space. Eliza frowned and stole a glance at her phone again. Would it be Leo? Or was it something that could change everything again? The possibilities swirled in her mind like a storm. She took a breath, preparing herself as she headed towards the door. What awaited her this time? Eliza took a moment to compose herself. The excitement in the room felt like a fragile bubble, about to burst. She put her hand on the doorknob, her pulse echoing in her ears as she turned it slowly. The door creaked open to reveal a woman in her 30s, with a wild mane of curls and a bright yellow shirt that looked like sunshine. Her arms were loaded with art supplies, and she wore a huge grin. "Sorry to barge in," she exclaimed. "I'm Lucy, and I heard there was an art meeting happening. I brought some paints. Can I join?" "Of course." Mia cheered instantly, her enthusiasm infectious. "More the merrier." Lucy shuffled inside, dropping her supplies with a thud. "I thought maybe we could use some color in our brainstorming session. Art's all about the mess sometimes, you know?" Eliza's heart skipped. This was unexpected, but it felt right. The energy shifted, now buoyed by Lucy's openness. They all moved toward the table, ready to include her in the vibrant conversation that was blossoming. As the group settled back onto their chairs, Sam's earlier anxiety seemed to dissolve in the joyful chaos. The sketches he'd shared now felt like a prologue to something much larger. Eliza turned to him and said, "You should totally paint one of your portraits live at the event. Imagine how engaging that would be." A grin spread across Sam's face, his eyes sparkling with newfound ambition. "I could show the process, tell a story while I work." "That's actually a great idea." Mia jumped in, "and we could invite the subjects of the portraits during that segment. They could share their own stories too." They began tossing around ideas, and Eliza felt herself being swept away in the tide of creativity. Each suggestion felt more powerful than the last, an intricate weave of their talents and stories coming together. She even began to forget the pang of worry about her meeting with Leo the next day, but just as Eliza began to relish this moment, a worry clawed its way back into her thoughts. She asked herself, "Am I really ready for what this new journey holds? Am I going to let go of my old life for something unknown?" But the cheerful laughter from the group, Sam's innocent laughter, Mia's spirited commentary, and Lucy's carefree comments pulled her back. "Let's paint something together," Lucy suggested excitedly, plucking vibrant paints from her bag. "Art isn't just for show, it's a collaboration. It's community." Eliza felt her chest warm at the thought. She leaned into the energy and let her brushes do the talking. They all gathered around the table, using the old notebook as a canvas. Each stroke became a blend of their voices, transforming the simple pages into a riot of color, but just as colors splattered and laughter erupted, the bitter taste of reality returned when Eliza's phone vibrated once more. The screen flashed with another message from Leo. Her heart raced as she hesitated, torn between this warm, beautiful gathering and the looming responsibilities ahead. "Hey," Mia said, breaking her concentration as she noticed Eliza staring at her phone. "Everything okay?" Eliza sighed, glancing at the vibrant masterpiece forming around her. I have a meeting, and I'm not sure what to do about it." Sam, with paint smudged across his cheek, looked up. "Sometimes, you just have to follow what feels right, even if it's scary. That's what art is about, isn't it?" His words lingered in the air, settling softly in Eliza's heart. Here, surrounded by these new friends, with their hopes and fears laid bare, she could feel a spark igniting within her. "Maybe I can find a way to balance both," she mused aloud, feeling a glow of realization. "It doesn't have to be one or the other." As they turned to her, smiles wide, a feeling of resolution began to take root in her chest. But just then, the doorbell rang again. This time, the sound felt different, like a prelude to change or opportunity. Eliza exchanged glances with Mia and Sam, anxiety replacing the momentary peace. Who could that be? Mia asked, her brows knitted together. Eliza stepped back toward the door, the weight of possibility heavy on her shoulders. She took a steadying breath, wondering who or what awaited her beyond the threshold. Would it be an answer to her newfound purpose or another twist in this journey? Eliza opened the door cautiously, her heart racing once more. On the other side stood a familiar face, the CEO, flanked by 2 team members from the startup. The disarming expression on his face was nothing like the cold stare she remembered from their last meeting. Instead, he appeared almost curious. "Good evening, Eliza," he greeted, his voice warm yet commanding. "We've been discussing your ideas. May we come in?" The unexpectedness of their visit sent a ripple of tension through Eliza. She glanced back at Mia and Sam, who were both wide-eyed but intrigued. Sure," Eliza stammered, stepping aside to let them in. As they filed into the apartment, the atmosphere transformed. The room brimmed with creativity. Half-finished paintings covered the table, while colors mixed beautifully but erratically, like the hopes that fluttered inside Eliza. With every moment, she felt the weight of the world shift toward excitement rather than anxiety. "We've been impressed with your presentation," the CEO began, taking a seat. He gestured for his companions to do the same. "Your connection with the community and your vision for the app is powerful. It resonates with what we're trying to achieve." Her heart skipped. Could this be real? She nodded, feeling the warmth of possibility envelope her. "Actually," he continued, "our team's conversations have led us to believe a partnership could be more beneficial than we originally thought." He placed a stack of documents on the table. "We'd like to create a project that prioritizes community input, something truly collaborative, with you leading the charge." Eliza's breathing quickened. This was the golden opportunity she had been dreaming of, not just to showcase her vision, but to weave her personal story into something monumental that could impact the lives of many. "Really? You want me to lead this?" "Absolutely," he replied, meeting her gaze. "You have the insight and the passion we need. We want you to help design the user experience around real-life perspectives. That's the change that matters." Mia and Sam listened, their expressions mixing disbelief with eagerness. The spark ignited deeper within Eliza. "I mean, yes. I'd love to." She glanced at Mia and Sam, who beamed with pride, and the realization swelled inside her that this was bigger than herself. "We also believe that your involvement in the local art event can tie in beautifully with the feedback gathering," the CEO added. "Combining technology and human stories is what will set this apart." The energy around the room shifted, buoyed by excitement and purpose. Eliza felt immersed in connection, the walls she had built around herself gradually crumbling. Together, they brainstormed ideas to create workshops, invite community members to share their stories, and integrate them into the app. This was it. Her heart raced as big dreams turned into tangible plans, each idea sparking fresh inspiration. Ideas flew around rapidly. Art demonstrations, co-creation sessions, and neighborhood showcases began to fill the air, painted by hope and possibility. Just as they wrapped up, Eliza remembered the meeting she'd scheduled with Leo. "I have to meet my brother tomorrow, but I promise I'll get back to you with ideas right away," she assured the team. "Take your time," the CEO said with a knowing smile. "We believe in empowering our collaborators. You're part of the change now." As they left, Eliza felt an invigorating shift within her. Something powerful had ignited. The fear that had plagued her moments before had dissipated, replaced by a sense of belonging, purpose, and connection. She turned to Mia and Sam, eyes shimmering with excitement. "I can't believe this is happening," Eliza breathed, joy filling every corner of her being. "Look at what you've done!" Mia exclaimed, laughter spilling from her lips. Sam nodded in agreement, the pride evident on his face. I think we have everything we need to make this work, together, Eliza said confidently. Let us push forward. That night, as she settled beside Leo on the couch, the glow of the television accompanied them in the shared comfort. He looked up, curiosity dancing in his eyes. How did it go with the CEO? A radiant smile broke across Eliza's face as she told him every detail, her excitement spilling over. It felt liberating to share. This wasn't just her victory, it was theirs. Together, they would change the narrative. They would uplift their community. Leo's eyes brightened with every word, his faith in her unwavering. See? I told you, you're unstoppable. Leo said, laughter ringing with endless joy. Eliza looked into his gleaming eyes and felt a fulfilling strength. Her heart was full. In that moment, she realized that this transformation was about more than tech and apps. It was about people, family, and the stories waiting to be told. This was the adventure she'd been preparing for. It was time to dig deep and tread the unexplored path with others beside her, weaving their dreams and voices into something extraordinary. She reached for her phone, typing out a message to Mia, already envisioning the changes that were about to unfold. Change had come, and she was ready to embrace it with open arms. Now more than ever, she knew, her voice mattered. The voices of her community mattered. Together, they would rise, lifting one another into the light of new beginnings. Action alert. This is the moment to show your support and keep this incredible journey going. You need to subscribe now to the channel for more exclusive stories and transformations. Leave a like to feed the algorithm and help us grow. And comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. You're part of this story. Don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support matters.